All right, everybody. We got this buddy with Gemini Homestead, and after the storm, we got a little problems. Uh, I'm assuming this may be related to the storm, maybe some lightning or whatever. I really don't know at this time, but uh, we normally would not even have found this, but Lippy went to turn the porch light on and no porch light. So she come and said, "Hey, porch light's out." So I go get a lighter, gonna put a bulb in, no big deal. And by the time I get the ladder, she comes and tells me, we got more problems. TV won't come on, which is normally not something we would turn on either, so we wouldn't have found it. But for some odd reason, she turned the TV on, I guess, look at weather or whatever. So TV has a swim switch that operates a satellite, which happens to be plugged into this wall. So started checking and went straight to this GFCI, and of course I got a little circuit tester here. You see it blinking, but it's not running all the time. It's not beeping. Normally this would beep and be solid lit. So we know we didn't have no power here, so I've disconnected. I pulled it out of the wall. I've took circuit tester and a meter and checked. Well, we don't have any power to it. You can't reset the GFCI if you don't have power to it. We have no power anywhere in here. Now I'll show you. Okay, you see it blink a little bit, but it's not solid, okay? Power, it should be solid and beeping. So we know we got power here on this side fireplace. We lost it somewhere to that wall. That whole wall in the front porch is out. I know I don't have any power to this GFCI plug. Our first suspect was the GFCI plug itself. But now that I know I don't have power here, I gotta do something I don't want to do. And that's go to the breaker box. I've already checked the breaker. Breaker is reset. Shows to be on. So now I gotta pull the cover off. Get in there with little live wires. It's not something I really like to, but it's gotta happen. Alright, I got a couple screws pulled out. I have scored around the edge, hoping it don't peel the paint off the wall, but if it does, it does. We'll just have to get Lippy to repaint. That's the last of them there. We're gonna see if it. Well, that was painless, for the moment anyway. A few wires in there. Few wires up in there. Alright, we're fixing to check this breaker box out. See what we got. This is live now, it's still live, so I'm not an electrician. I don't advise that you do this. I'm just doing it to try to find out if we got a bad breaker or what. But if something happens that this thing knocks a mess out of me, you take that wooden handle broom over there and knock me off of it. Don't touch me, because you're going to complete the circuit. Okay? I'm just telling you ahead of time. We're going to have to find our ground here and check for positive and see. I was just seeing if you was on your toes to see, and you didn't move, so I'm a little concerned now. I'm gonna tell you.
He always fixing beyond. He can get something worse than this power surge, ain't he?
Well, that's really not what I wanted to see so far, because all my breakers are showing to have power. Even the GFCIs, I've already tripped them and reset them several times. And I have power, and I know I got my ground. Like I say, I wouldn't advise this for anybody. All this is hot. This is 200 amps, a 220, 110 on one leg, or 120, whatever you want to call it. It's hot, all I can tell you. Well, I would much rather seen a breaker pad, but I don't have a breaker pad, which means that it's either dropped a leg or something between here and that plug. And that's not good because it means all of these wires go up in the attic and go to wherever. And I didn't wire this house. This house was built in 84.
82.
82, excuse me. And somebody just halfway labeled the wires as usual, which is something that we will be doing now. We haven't because we hadn't had any trouble, but I would advise you, whether you have trouble or not, to go ahead and spend the time and label your breaker box, whether you are building a home and putting it in or you just bought a home. Whether you do it before you have problems, because now I'm looking at this and have no idea by their description what works what. So I'm gonna have to go through here and isolate everything else to find. I'm suspecting that this is the breaker, this GFCI, because it has tripped on a couple occasions due to a plug we have outside that gets into a little moisture when it's a heavy storm. But in this case, this didn't show to be tripped. The GFC out on the wall was tripped and no power. So from this point, we got to start running wires through the attic and see where we end up. So we will be back.
Well, y'all, I guess y'all can figure out now we're hunting.
Right up here where we didn't want to be.
Where we didn't want to be. We are hunting. Not good.
Back. Let me give you a rundown for where we've been, because we've been all over this house. All right, we're on day 3 here in the evening time after I get in from work. We have checked. As y'all know, we had one wall and the porch out of electricity. We have pulled every plug, every light switch on that wall, checked every one of them. I found one on the front porch, plug was busted, looked burnt, went on and changed it, but it had power. The rest of them didn't. It's on a separate breaker. Went on, changed it, fixed it. It's what we need to do anyway, so it was good we found it. It went back to every plug, looked at everything, checked every connection. Everything that has a wire nut on it, we've checked those. We've been to the breaker box. We've had it open. I've got this little tester here, which is a circuit tester. You pull the back end of it out and you plug it in your circuit. Alright, you plug it in. You see it's got 2 yellow lights. According to this circuit tester, that means all is good. You got hot, you got ground, you got neutral, all in the right connection, the way it's supposed to be. You turn your little meter on. Let's see here. And then you have to calibrate it. So you start at the top here, and you start working down, and you run through every breaker. You go to the other side, run through every breaker, and then you pull it off, you give it a second, and then you go back, and you start, and it will find that breaker for that circuit, what you're plugged into over there. Okay, that works real well if you got a live circuit. But according to the tester, and according to all this bunch of meters and stuff that I have, a big conglomerate of tools here, we have lost our hot leg on our circuit. So this tester don't work unless you have a live circuit. So I turned around, all the breakers are good, everything's good. So I went at it. I've crawled around. I took this meter, this fluke circuit tester, and I've checked all the wires going that I can find. Here's the problem. We have 10 inches of insulation of blown in insulation in there. The wires come right here through the header. You got a soffit outside, on the outside of the bird's mouth. They go into the attic. They all come across right in this area, whole wad of wires. And then they all start separating and they go where they want to. Now, somewhere in there should be a home run box, junction boxes, wherever, where they split off from every room. Can't see any of that because there's insulation that deep. I walked all the rafters across until Lippy decided to tell me, no, you're too big to be over there. You need to get back over this way. And I've come back, and now we have decided that, okay, it's past where I want to go. It's either in the attic somewhere or it's in the wall somewhere. I have checked everywhere else. So we've called in reinforcements, and the electrician will be here in the morning. And that is where we stand here at Gemini Homestead. And we will give an update later to see what the electrician found, but as of now, that's where we're at. And that is not what I wanted to hear or not what I wanted to do, but it is what it is, and we must move on. We have to have power, and I have to work, and Lippy can't do it by herself, so the electrician will be here in the morning, and we'll see how that goes. But as for now, God bless.